Hi everybody, this is Bonnie Barker with Bonnie Bay Crochet, and today we're going to make the braided cable Christmas tree skirt. Let me go ahead and show you some photos of this right here. For this project, I'm going to be using Paint Box Yarns Simply Aran. And this is 100 grams in each ball, or 3.5 ounces, 184 meters, or 201 yards per ball. This is a number 4, or a medium, also known as worsted weight yarn or Aran weight. And the number of balls that I'll be using, you'll see printed right across the bottom of your screen, as well as written in the pattern, which is available on my website. I'm also recommending that you have a size L or 8.00 millimeter crochet hook. And as always, I recommend that you have a pair of sharp scissors and a yarn needle handy. This project is going to be crocheted by holding 2 strands of your worsted weight yarn together throughout. Hence, that's why we are going to be using an oversized size L or 11 or 8.00 millimeter crochet hook. Okay, to begin, we're going to work a slip knot and the starting chain of 48 chains. Once you've completed your chain of 48, we're going to begin row 1 by working a double crochet in the 4th chain from the hook. And we're going to work a double crochet in each chain all the way across the row. At the end of this row, you should have a total of 45 double crochets. And just for the record, that's not including the chain 3 at the beginning of the row. So this is what you should have after row 1. Now we're going to turn, chain 3, and we're going to work 1 double crochet in that first stitch, 2 double crochets in the next stitch, and that's going to be your repeat all the way across. 1 double crochet in the next stitch, 2 in the next. And you are going to see this start to curve on you just a bit, and that is normal. That is a good thing. So go ahead and work that all the way across. At the end of row 2, just work a double crochet in that last double crochet. Do not work in the turning chain. You should have a total of 67 stitches, not including the chain 3 at the beginning, and it should be curving around for you just about like this. All right, so now we are ready to begin the braided cables. So now we're ready to go on to row 3, which begins the braids. We're going to chain 3 at the beginning, double crochet in that very first stitch. We're not skipping any stitches here at the beginning. Now we're ready to begin the braids. We're going to wrap our hooks twice to prepare for a front post treble crochet, skip the first 2 stitches, and for a post stitch, we're simply going to stick our hook around the body of the stitch. The hook is going to go all the way around the body, and then we complete the treble as we normally would. The main difference is it's not worked into the top loops, but it's worked around the body, giving it a belt, as it were. Okay, so we're going to do that in the next stitch as well. You can see how the hook goes all the way around. Now also keep keep in mind that it's down below, it's not up through this region, it's more around the waist of the stitch. And to be sure that you get all of those strands. After working those 2 stitches, we're going to front post treble in the 2 stitches that we first skipped. Coming all the way in front, do the one that's furthest away. And then the next stitch, which is right here. So make sure that you front post treble around those 2 stitches that you skipped, and be careful that you again are pulling through all the loops. Okay, now we're going to front post treble in the next 2 stitches without skipping. So the braid is going to have 6 stitches. Okay, I know it doesn't look like a braid at the moment. It will once we complete a couple more rows, but this is what you should have. Okay, now we're going to work 3 double crochets, and we're going to work them in the space between the last stitch and the next stitch. So this is not exactly worked in any stitches up top or even post stitches, but in between stitches. So we're going to work 3 double crochets. Just like that. Okay, again, make sure that these are in between stitches and not worked in to the tops of stitches. If you work them into the tops of stitches, your stitch count will not make any sense at the end of the row. Okay, so we're going to do this across the row. Skip the next 2 stitches, front post treble in the next 2 stitches, working in front of those last 2 stitches, we're going to front post treble over this stitch and then this stitch. And then front post treble in the very next 2 stitches. This is for stitch number 5 and 6 in the braid, or the braided cable. All right, after we do that, again, working between the last stitch and the next stitch is the space in between. We're going to work 3 double crochets. Okay, and so this is what it should look like. I'll hold it back a little bit further. So go ahead and repeat that across the row. This is what you should have after completing row number 3. You should have 11 braids started. All right, on to row number 4. We're going to chain 3. We're going to double crochet in that first stitch. Now we're going to continue to work over the braids, and we're going to do it in this manner. We're going to skip the next 2 stitches, and we're going to back post double crochet over the next 2. And these are the 2 that are kind of on the surface. You can feel these with your nerve endings in your fingers. So back post treble, and the next one. These are the ones that are on top, on the back side at this point. Okay, now, this is where it's a little bit tricky, but I'm going to take this slow and try to explain. Now working in front of these 2 stitches as seen from the front side. This is the back side facing us, so the front side is on the other side from us at this point. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring these around, and we're going to back post treble first in this stitch, making sure we get both of those strands. And then the next one, which is right beside. And again, I'm using the nerve endings in my thumb and tall man finger to kind of guide my hook to know where these stitches are. And I'll flip this around for you in just a second. After that, we just do the next 2 stitches, which are right in front of us. Again, using your thumb and finger to find these. Make sure you do 2 of these, and the second one is right here. Okay, so let me turn this around so that you can see the front side. So now you can see how the braid is coming. So when I say as seen from the front side, even though it's facing away from you, you can see how these second 2 stitches crossed in front. Okay. Now, working over the 3 double crochets, we're going to work a double crochet in that first stitch, 2 double crochets in the next stitch, and 1 double crochet in that third stitch. So for the double crochet section, you should have a total of 4 stitches worked over those 3 stitches. We're just going to gradually increase this section as we go. And I'll do this for you one more time. Skip the next 2 stitches, and here are the 2 that are on top. We're going to back post treble in these 2 first. Now working in front of these 2 stitches as seen from the front side, I'm going to flip this back and show you. We're going to work this stitch, working at back post treble crochet, and then the next stitch. And again, you can see how these are worked in front when the front side is facing. And then back post treble in those next 2 stitches. Having to do a lot of yarn pulling with these 2 different strands of yarn as we go about here. All right, so that brings us to the 3 double crochets, and again 1 double crochet in that first stitch, 2 double crochets in the next stitch, and then 1 in that next stitch. Okay, so this is what you're going to work all the way across. So go ahead and finish row 4, and let me give you some instructions as you approach the end. We are going to work a double crochet in that last stitch, and I'll do that with you when we get to that point. At the end of row 4, work a double crochet in the last stitch. Do not work in the turning chain. Just go ahead and turn. We're going to chain 2, and we're going to work a double crochet in that first stitch. Now working over the braided area, we're going to skip the next 2 stitches, and this is the second row when the braid is facing us, and you should be able to see this coming together a little bit better. So we're going to work front post trebles in those next 2 stitches after we skip the first 2. And now working in front of those 2 stitches just like we've already done before. Front post treble in the 2 stitches that we skipped. And then front post treble in the next 2 stitches. Now make sure you may have to find them. It's the next 2 stitches here, and they are hiding behind these other stitches, so you may need to locate them with your thumb and finger. There are 2 of those. Okay, now we're going to continue. We're going to work 2 double crochets in the next stitch. This is working over the double crochets, and then we're going to work 1 double crochet in each of the next 3 stitches. So that is going to be your repeat across the row. Again, skip 2, front post treble in these 2, working in front of those stitches, front post treble in these 2, and then front post treble in the 2 stitches that are next to it, working in the double crochets, 2 double crochets, 1 double crochet, 1 double crochet, and 1 double crochet. So go ahead and work that across. Row 5 ends by working a double crochet in the last double crochet. Go ahead and chain 2. We're going to turn, work 1 double crochet in that first stitch, and again working the braid. This is with the back side facing us. Skip the next 2 stitches and back post treble crochet over the next 2 stitches. Make sure we get both of those strands. There we go. And working in front of these as seen from the front side, so we're going to come around this way and work back post trebles first in this stitch, it's a little tricky, make sure you get through all the strands. There we go. And then the next stitch, which is right here, the first 2 that we skipped. And then back post treble in the next 2, which are right here. You may again need to use your finger and thumb to find where those stitches are. All right, and then now we get to the double crochets. We're still continuing to add stitches. We're going to work 2 stitches in the first double crochet, and then get that out of the yarn. We're going to work 1 double crochet in each of the next 4 stitches, and this is going to be your repeat across the row. Let me go ahead and get all of these stitches in. So this section here will have a total of 6 stitches over those double crochets. And so to repeat, we're going to work the braided cable over the 6 stitches, and then 2 double crochets, and then 1, 1, 1, and 1 double crochet in the rest of those stitches. So go ahead and work that all the way across the row. So this is what you should have after completing 6 rows. Now for row 7, we are actually going to be adding braids on the double crochet areas, and we're going to be adding a double crochet in between the braid, or each new braid. So we're going to be adding a double crochet here and here in between the stitches. It's not going to be actually worked in the stitch. So let me go ahead and start this with you with the chain 2, a double crochet in that first stitch, and we're going to go ahead and work the braid as usual. Skip 2 stitches and front post treble in those next 2 stitches, working in front of those 2 stitches, and front post treble in the 2 stitches that we just skipped, making sure we go through all those loops and using both of those strands. All right, and then in the next 2 stitches we work those last 2 treble crochets, okay. So we've just completed the braid portion. Now we're going to work a double crochet in between this braid and the double crochet, just like that. Okay, and we're doing this because this is going to be our increase here and here, but also when we work this braid, this is going to pull these stitches in a bit. So that's why we're doing what we're doing now. Skip the next 2 stitches, front post treble in the next 2 stitches, working in front of those last 2 stitches. We front post treble in those 2 stitches that we skipped. And then again, front post treble in those last 2 double crochets in this little section. Okay, and now we work a double crochet in between the last stitch and the next stitch, just right in that in between space, just like that. So you can see we're going to increase our number of braids by 10 after this row, so we should have 21 braids started after we complete this row. So let's go ahead and just repeat that all the way across, making sure that you're adding a new braid and a double crochet here and here in between on these double crochet areas. This is what you should have after completing 7 rows. And as you see, the new braids in between. So now if you count those, you should have a total of 21 braids with 1 double crochet in between each and on at the beginning and at the end of each row. All right, so now we're ready to move on to row number 8, and I have now added my second balls of yarn to both of my strands. We're going to turn, chain 2, work a double crochet in that first stitch, and with the back side facing, we're going to work the braid by skipping the next 2 stitches, back post treble in these 2 stitches, and working in front of those as seen from the front side, back post treble in these 2 stitches, and then in these 2 stitches. I'm going to go ahead and do that. So after working that braid section, we come to the single double crochet that's in between the braids, and we're going to work 2 double crochets in that stitch, and that's going to be the repeat all the way across. We're going to work the braided stitch, the braided cable, by skipping 2 back post trebles, 2 back post trebles, and then 2 back post trebles, and then 2 double crochets worked in the next double crochet. So go ahead and work that all the way across. This is what you should have after completing 8 rows. Now for row 9, we are going to again go ahead and bring it to the center, chain 2, double crochet in that first stitch. After that first double crochet, we're going to skip the next 2 stitches, 2 front post trebles, 2 front post trebles, 2 front post trebles, just the way we've been doing. Then we're going to work 2 double crochets in the first stitch, and then 1 double crochet in the second stitch. So you will end up with 3 stitches, and that's going to be your repeat all the way across. This is what you should have after completing 9 rows. Now for row number 10, we are not going to add in any increases this round, or row rather. We're going to chain 2, double crochet in that first stitch. After that first double crochet, we're going to work the braided cable by skipping 2 stitches, back post treble, and then working in front of these as seen from the front side, back post treble over the 2 skip stitches, and then back post treble over these stitches. And then we're just going to work 1 double crochet in each of the double crochet stitches. So go ahead and work that row. And row 10 ends by working a double crochet in the last stitch. And this is with the back side facing. Let's go ahead and turn and see what we have after 10 rows. Okay, this is coming together quite nicely. Now for row 11, with the front side facing, we're going to chain 2, double crochet in that first stitch. We're going to work the braided cable the same as we've been doing. Skip 2 stitches, 2 front post trebles, and then working in front of those 2 front post trebles, and then again the 2 stitches that are hiding, 2 front post trebles. And then in the first of the double crochets, we're going to work 2 double crochets and then 1 in each of the next stitch, so that we're going to have 2, 1, and then 1. So that should be a total of 4 double crochets in this section. So go ahead and work that all the way across for row 11, and at the end of the row just work a double crochet in the last stitch of the row. This is what you should have after completing 11 rows. This is starting to get some size to it. Now for rows 12 and 13, obviously row 12 will be worked with the back side facing, and you'll be working back post trebles for the cables, and row 13 will be with the front side facing, working front post treble crochets for the braided sections. So now for the double crochet sections, we're just going to work 1 double crochet in each of the 4 double crochets in between those braids. So again, we're going to have 2 rows, no increases. We're just going to maintain the 4 double crochet stitches in between each of those cables. So go ahead and work rows 12 and 13. This is the size once you have completed 13 rows. The measure from the first row to the last row is approximately 10¼ inch. And so now I'm going to give you some directions for the next 3 rows. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and start you on row 14. This is going to be with the back side facing you. We're going to chain 2. Again, double crochet in that first stitch, just the way we've started all of these rows, and go ahead and work the braid over the next 6 stitches. Again, skipping 2 stitches, back post treble over these 2 stitches, and working in front of those as seen from the front side, back post treble in these 2 stitches, and then in these 2, and then I'll give you further instructions. So after working over those 6 stitches of the braid, we're going to work 2 double crochets in that first double crochet of that 4 grouping, and then 1 in each of the next stitches. Okay, so that should give you a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stitches in the double crochet area between the braids. And so that is going to be your repeat, working the braid over the 6 stitches, the braided cable, and then 2 double crochets, 1 double crochet, 1 double crochet, and 1 double crochet all the way across. We end with a double crochet in the last stitch and turn. So go ahead and work this is actually row 14, and then I want you to work row 15 and 16 working in pattern stitch, just like we've been doing. And as you work that pattern stitch, you're going to be working over 5 double crochets in between the cables. So make sure that you do not increase on rows 15 and 16, but only on row 14. Okay, so go ahead and work rows 14 through 16. To start row 17, we're going to chain 2. We're going to work a double crochet in that first stitch. Now this row is going to be a little bit different. We're going to discontinue the use of the braided stitch, and we're going to do this by just working front post double crochets over each of those post stitches that make up the braided cables. Just work the front post double crochets straight across, and you are going to have 6 of these for each of the braids. Okay, so we're going to work over them just like this, and then when you get to the regular double crochets, just work in through the top loops, just the way we've been doing. So go ahead and work that all the way across. This row ends by working a double crochet in the last double crochet of the row. So now to start row 18, this is the next to the last row. We're going to chain 1 and working only in the back loops, and make sure that you get both strands of the yarn. We're just going to work slip stitches all the way around. Now do make sure that you work this on the loose side, because otherwise this may tighten this row up more than we want to. And if you need to, you can even upsize your hook to the next size up, which I think would be an M, but you might be fine with the size L. And so what we're going to do here is making this, it's called the low back ridge, and it's going to make a nice border. Let me show you from the front. It's going to make a nice trim so that when we go back to the last row, which is going to be worked in the remaining loop, and I'll show you that a little better in a bit, we're going to work the last final trim in that remaining loop, and that'll give it a nice edging to kind of feature these two rows. All right, so go ahead and work these slip stitches all the way across. Now working the final row, we start with a chain 1, and we're going to be working in the loop, which is right back here, which is the remaining loop that we did not work in previously. So we're going to work a single crochet in that first stitch. Now working behind the braid, we're going to work a single crochet in that next stitch. After that single crochet, as we're working behind the braid, we're going to skip 2 stitches, 1, 2, and working in the third loop. Try to point this out. Here's the loop. We're going to skip this loop, and then we're going to work in that next loop. And I've prepared my hook for a treble crochet. We're going to work 3 treble crochets. This is all worked in those same loop. After those 3 stitches, we're going to chain 3. We're going to slip stitch in the first of those 3 chains. This makes a little picot. And then we're going to work 3 more treble crochets, worked again, still working in that same loop. Okay. Now we're going to skip the next stitch. So you can see we have 2 more stitches in the braid. We're going to skip the next stitch, and then that last stitch, which is right behind the braid, we're going to work a single crochet. All right. Now we're going to skip the next 2 stitches, 1, 2, again back here, 1, 2, and in the third stitch, which is the center of those 5 double crochets, we're going to work the shell stitch with the picot again. Let's make sure that we get both. Yeah, we have both loops there. So we're going to work 3 treble crochets, chain 3, slip stitch in the first of those 3 chains to make the picot, and then 3 more treble crochets. So let's pause and just take a look at these shells with the picot. And this is what we're going to work all the way across the row. So let's do the next one. Again, we're still working behind the 5 double crochets. We're going to skip the next 2 stitches, 1, 2, and then the next stitch, which is behind the first braided stitch, work a single crochet. And then again, skip 2, 1, 2 stitches, work the next shell with the picot, those 3 treble crochets. Let's go ahead and chain 3, slip stitch in that first of the chains, and then 3 more treble crochets. All worked in that same loop. And again, the second part, when you're working behind the braid, we just skip 1 stitch and then single crochet in the next. This is just to keep the shells consistent, so that you have a shell behind the braid and then a shell behind the 5 double crochet section. So go ahead and work that all the way across. At the end of the row, we're going to work a single crochet in the last stitch. So let me show you what you should have with this final border. All right, so now we're going to turn 90 degrees to work in the row ends. So I'm going to have you chain 1, and we're going to single crochet in the same place as the last stitch was made, and then working across the row ends, we're going to work 2 single crochets for every row end across as we go across this front. So go ahead and do that, 2 single crochets in each row end. You want to do this so that it looks nice and even. So go ahead and work that all the way until you get to the first row end. You should have a total of 35 single crochets worked across those row ends. After we do that, we're going to chain 1 turn, and working in the single crochets, we're just going to single crochet in each stitch all the way across. So go ahead and do that. Again, you'll have 35 stitches across this row. Okay, now we're going to make the buttonholes. So this is row 3 of the buttonhole side. We're going to chain 1. We're going to single crochet in each of the first 3 stitches. Now we're going to chain 2, skip 2 stitches, and then we're going to single crochet in each of the next 12 stitches. After crocheting those 12 single crochets, we're going to make another buttonhole by chaining 2, skipping 2 stitches, and then we're going to single crochet again in the next 12 stitches. After working those 12 single crochets, chain 2, skip 2 stitches, and we're going to single crochet in the last 2 stitches. I'll go ahead and try that. There we go. All right, so now you should have 3 buttonholes. Now if you want to add additional buttonholes, you're free to do that. You just are going to have to rework the number of stitches in between the buttonholes, which is fairly easy to figure out just using simple division. All right, so let's go ahead and turn with the back side facing us, chain 1, and we're going to work a single crochet in each stitch across. And when you come to each buttonhole, we're simply going to work 2 single crochets in each of those buttonholes. Now, one thing you want to do before completing the buttonhole rows is to be sure that the buttons that you have selected for your project will actually slip through the buttonhole. This one works no problem. But now if I had an even larger button, which is fine to use, let me get you the size on this one. So this is a 1.5 inch buttons. Now if you have a button that's larger than this, you may need to make your buttons 3 stitches wide, which would just be a matter of skipping 3 stitches, chaining 3 in order to make those buttonholes. But just want to show you, just want to be sure that your button will fit through the hole, but also you don't want it to be so loose that it will come undone. So don't make the buttonholes too loose. Usually just skipping 2 stitches with such a large hook will be plenty of space for most buttons. So go ahead and continue working this all the way across, again working 1 single crochet in each stitch, and when you come to the buttonholes just work 2 single crochets, 1, and just work a single crochet in each stitch all the way across, and then fasten off at the end of this row. Okay, I'm going to give you a small assignment as well. So after you fasten off, we're just going to join in the chain 2 space, join with a slip stitch, and we're going to work those single crochets down the row ends on the other side. And again, you should have 35 stitches just like on the other side, and we're going to work 5 rows of single crochets all the way across, and we're not going to have buttonholes on this side because this is where we're going to mount the buttons. So go ahead and finish those 5 rows on the other side. I have sewn my buttons into place. I have hidden all my loose strands. Let me just show you a better photo of this right here. I hope you enjoyed making the braided Christmas tree skirt with me today. If you did, I would love to hear from you. Please feel free to comment below. God bless. Bye-bye.